Hi everyone, I'm Lila Bowman from the Minecraft Education team coming in from Redmond, Washington. Thanks for tuning in. This week we are celebrating Computer Science Education Week. And today we will be talking all about coding and space exploration, which is just the coolest combination. Now, before we get started, remember you can share your questions in the chat throughout the event. Our friends from Minecraft and the NASA STEM team are here, and they will be responding to as many as they can. And finally, take a seat and get ready because we will be starting soon. In the meantime, we have a fun challenge for you. Grab something to write with because it is pop quiz time. In just a moment, some on-screen quiz questions are coming to warm us up for the event. So gather in groups or pairs, grab a piece of paper and a pen to write your answers and share with us in the chat just how many you answered correctly. Okay, let's do this. Let the pop quiz begin. Studios in Redmond, Washington in the United States. And welcome to today's Flip event. I'm your host, Lila Bowman, and I couldn't be more excited to be here with you all. Now, how many questions did you get right in the pop quiz? We would love to know in the chat. Give yourself a pat on the back or a high five to the person sitting next to you. Great job on our first ever Flip pop quiz. Now let's give a cheer to all of you here with us tuning in. I can see some familiar names and classrooms. Hello, everyone. We are honored to have you here. All right, it is Computer Science Education Week, and we are lucky to be joined by an incredible expert, the robotics technologist, Dr. Kamak Ebadi from NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab. Kamak will share his incredible journey from a 14-year-old dreaming of NASA in Iran to now working with the renowned space agency. His story promises to ignite the dreams of every student and aspiring space enthusiast. He will also discuss the power of coding in shaping future careers and share more about NASA's Artemis missions. And finally, we're going to show you how you can start your coding journey with Minecraft's Artemis missions in our games. All right, let's blast off with Dr. Kamak.
This is shuttle launch control. Ignition sequence starts. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
Thank you for that introduction, and hello to everyone watching. As Leila mentioned, my name is Kamak Ebadi, and I'm a robotics technologist here at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I was born and raised in Iran, and as a child, I had a deep fascination for astronomy and space exploration. However, I kept that dream private because I was afraid of getting mocked or ridiculed by others. One pivotal day, I saw an interview on live TV featuring an Iranian American NASA director who was leading NASA's Mars exploration program. His name was Dr. Firuz Naderi, and he was talking about NASA's twin rovers, Opportunity and Spirit, that had recently landed on Mars. So when I saw him on TV, in that moment, I instantly found a beacon of hope because I told myself if he achieved to reach such heights, I could strive for them too. So from that moment forward, I decided to openly share my dream of joining NASA. However, aside from a few friends and family members who were supportive, others looked at me with skepticism. Some even mocked me and laughed at me. And I distinctly recall someone suggesting I needed to seek help from a psychologist to wake up from what they deemed a childish dream and face a reality. They argued that I was from Iran, a country that had no diplomatic relationship with the US for over 4 decades. So unfortunately for many people, even getting a visa to go and visit the US is almost impossible, let alone working for NASA. However, instead of accepting that version of reality, that discouraging version of reality that was presented to me, I decided to create my own version of reality. So I started journaling, but instead of focusing on the past, I focused on the future and a future at NASA. So I started thinking and planning every single step that I needed to take to go from where I was to what I wanted to be at NASA. Soon I realized that one of my biggest challenges was financial situation. Moving to the US and studying and living in the US is extremely expensive, and I didn't have the financial means to make that happen. So at the age of 17, I started working night shifts at an internet service provider company while going to school during the day in mornings. And I tried hard to save as much as I could and save every penny. For my undergrad studies, I chose to major in computer engineering because I was fascinated with computers and the power of coding in shaping our tech-driven world. So it took me 9 years of working night shifts and saving every penny until I finally managed to save just enough so I can cover my tuition and living costs for only the first semester in the US. So finally, I arrived in the US and started on a student visa and started my master's in computer engineering at Florida International University. One of the first things that I did upon arriving in the US was reaching out to the same Iranian American NASA director that I saw on TV, Dr. Firuz Naderi, when I was a child. And I wrote him an email. I wrote him that he had been my role model. I wrote him that he had been my source of inspiration throughout all those challenging years. And I asked him if he could be my mentor and show me the way to my dream. He did not respond to my email. He was the director for solar system exploration at that time, so he was quite busy, and he was getting many similar requests and email from other students. So he didn't have time to respond to all those other emails. So after I didn't hear back from him, I wrote him again and again and again. So I sent him 17 emails to be precise, each email written completely differently, but with the same message and same request. And finally, he responded to my 17th email. He said, Kamak, let me know next time that you are in Los Angeles. I might be able to meet with you. I was living in Florida at that time, so I booked a flight to LA for the next day. And I responded to him, what a coincidence. I'm going to be in LA tomorrow. So that's how I finally managed to get to meet with my role model. And we had an hour-long meeting. And at the end of that meeting, he agreed to mentor me. From that moment, it took another 7 years of hard work, a PhD in robotics from SCU, a postdoc in Caltech, that I finally received a full-time job offer from NASA JPL. So yeah, it took almost 2 decades to realize my childhood dream, and the path wasn't easy, but that's how dreams are. Dreams are not supposed to be easy. So some of you watching might be wondering, now that I'm here working at NASA, is that the end of my dreaming journey? The answer is absolutely not. I aspired to become an astronaut, and actually just recently I was selected as an analog astronaut by NASA to participate in an analog mission to Mars starting this January. So I'm still working toward that dream, and I'm well aware that there are thousands, tens of thousands of applicants who apply to NASA's astronaut program, and NASA usually select only 10 candidates. So I know how hard it is, but that doesn't discourage me from trying. Here at JPL, I work on several projects. One of the projects that I'm contributing to is strategic and tactical spaceflight operations for NASA's Perseverance rover. So some of you may already know that Perseverance rover's main mission objective is to explore planet's geology and search for ancient signs of microbial life on Mars. So what I do and what the rest of my team does is that we use a robotic arm of Perseverance rover to collect and cache samples of the Martian rocks and regolith. And we hope to return these samples back to Earth so we can study them extensively and search for signs of life in them. So Perseverance rover is equipped with many sensors and scientific instruments. And in order to control these scientific instruments, we need to write code and create software so we can control these scientific instruments and collect data and measurements that we need. Another interesting software that is on board the Perseverance rover is what we call the autonomous navigation, or the AutoNav. So AutoNav is a system that enables the rover to autonomously navigate on the surface of Mars and traverse the terrain and identify and detect obstacles and hazards like large rocks or rough terrain, and chart a safe path around them without relying on direct instructions from Earth. So in a sense, the onboard flight software is like the brains of the rover and enables the rover to collect and analyze data on its own and to make decisions on its own, and in a sense to be smart and just rely less on human supervision and human in the loop and be able to traverse the terrain. Another project that I'm currently contributing to is developing high-resolution orbital maps and navigation and perception algorithms that enable the spacecraft to execute pinpoint landing on planetary bodies. So this project can help and support other NASA projects like the Artemis mission to the moon that aims to land the first woman and the first person of color on the surface of the moon within this decade. And other projects like Mars Sample Return mission that aims to land a lander on Mars and retrieve the samples that we are collecting with Perseverance rover and return them back to Earth. So similar to the Perseverance rover, the Orion spacecraft or any other spacecraft that is going to land astronauts on the surface of the moon is equipped with sensors and scientific instruments. So we need to write software and code so we can control those instruments and we can collect the data, and we enable the spacecraft to perform a pinpoint landing precisely at the locations that we want them to land the astronauts safely, completely autonomously and without human supervision. So you may want to consider this, that when we are talking about pinpoint landing on Moon, on Mars, there is no GPS satellite on Moon and Mars that helps us to localize a spacecraft with respect to the target landing site. Some of you might have seen SpaceX landing on a barge on the ocean or landing on target landing sites at Kennedy Space Center, which is quite impressive. But here on Earth, we have GPS, and the rockets that are going to land on those landing sites, they rely on the GPS satellite as well, so they can look at their own location with respect to the GPS satellite based on the GPS signal and look at the target location and then try to navigate and arrive where they want to go. Just like how we use our cell phone when you're driving in a car and you put the destination address in your map app, and then it will navigate you to the location that you want to go. On Mars or Moon, there is no GPS. So we don't have any global knowledge of where the spacecraft is with respect to the landing site. So how do we localize and how do we pinpoint land is that we take images with a spacecraft. So the spacecraft take images of the surface and compares that to an onboard map and try to match those images with the onboard map. Just imagine you're lost in New York City and I give you a picture of Empire State Building and I say, go find that. So you will look around and look at your picture and you try to match your picture with what you see around so that you can arrive at your destination. Now, what is challenging on the surface of the moon is that at the moon's south pole, which is the place Artemis 3 is going to land, the sun elevation is only 1.5 degrees above horizon. And that means that we're going to have very long shadows cast on the surface of the moon. So when we are going to land on the moon, we need to compare aerial imagery with onboard map and try to match that. But unfortunately, when we are going to land, we don't have no control at what the time of day we're going to land. We don't know how the shadows are going to look. So this is going to complicate the whole process of matching the onboard imagery with an onboard map and precisely land, pinpoint land, basically at a target landing site. So this is all the power of coding and software engineering that enables the spacecraft to become smart and make a smart decision and land this next generation of Artemis astronauts safely on the surface of the moon.
Wow, what an incredible story. I'm inspired, and I bet all of you feel exactly the same way. Kamak will be back with us in just a few minutes to answer some of your questions. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a moment to show everyone watching how to start coding with Minecraft and explore the Artemis missions worlds that we created in collaboration with NASA. All right, well, let's kick it off. And welcome to Return to the Moon. And I am going to actually choose keyboard. You do have a choice between keyboard and touch. So if you're on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android or any kind of tablet, you would choose touch controls. I am on my laptop, so I am going to choose keyboard. Now, the second choice you have is to choose which coding language you're going to be using for today's game. Blocks are definitely best for beginners. And you definitely only want to choose Python if you have coded in Python before, or if you've already used blocks and you want to try something new and choosing Python. All right, so very first thing, and the most important thing in Minecraft coding games is the following: press C to open Code Builder. So I'm going to press C to open Code Builder. And Code Builder is how we code in the game. So this game supports between 1 and 4 players. And when all crew members who are playing are logged in, you can press go for launch. Since it's just me, I'm going to drag that block over, go for launch, and press start. So we are now ready to begin the game. And we have this awesome cinematic. That's when you have like a little video in the game. And it's a cinematic of the SLS going up into space and beginning Artemis return to the moon. And so we wanted to create a game here that actually represented what activities astronauts do inside of the Orion. And that liftoff is super strong, 6 Gs of force. And it tells us a little bit about what a G-force is. It's 6 times heavier than on Earth, your body feels 1 G. So imagine 6 times that right now. So we can show you how to use a console, and that's what we're going to do right now. It's our first time, so I'm going to press yes. So definitely press yes along with me. And we're going to actually play with the console. It's really important to know how the console works, so we're going to spend some time going through it. So I'm going to interact with the console. I'm going to look around, though, first because it's super cool. So you'll see here I'm in the Orion. I'm in my capsule looking out into space. I got my other team members down below me, and to my right, which everybody has their own console. And I'm going to click right here with my right click with that button, and it pulls out, which is just a cool thing. All right, so interacting with that button later will retract the console as well. So this is our main screen where we know what we're doing in the game, and interacting with the blinking button so we know we're ready to proceed. So here we are. So here's my console. Everything I need to know in this game happens on the console. So as you see, we're going to be taking a really cool flight around the moon. I'm going to go click on this fidget button, my fidget screen. While I'm waiting for non-mission critical activities, I can check my email, or I can turn my lights on and off, or just chat with Capcom. We have approximately 8 minutes to do as many points as possible, so we're probably not going to be fidgeting too much. Let's begin our mission critical tasks. All right, so what's blinking? Okay, so here on the right, are all the tasks I have available for me in the 1, 2, and 4 member games. And even though you're playing by yourself, you can definitely play the 2 and 4 member games. But we're going to do a first trial run. I'm going to choose this really cool one. The objective of my mission is to score as many points as possible before splashdown. So we're going to start counting now. The little trophy icon shows how many points my team has earned, and we can only get 1 try per mission. So if you fail, that's okay. Just choose a new mission. And don't worry if you're playing on your own. Obviously, the computer's going to join me. Some require 2 members, and this little icon here shows you how many members are required to start a task. And now we're going to get ready to play. Let's interact. All right, so I'm going to flip the switch, as we say, and start the mission. All right, that means now officially we've got 8 minutes. So now I'm on the Mars recon. So I've got to capture an image of a potential Mars landing spot. All right, got the Ginny. New data has revealed a possible landing spot for our future missions to Mars. The Ingenuity Mars helicopter, or Ginny, is at our disposal. Now we've got to navigate Ginny over to the location and gather additional image data. Got it. All right, so I've got to get Ginny right there at the very top over to the X and take a picture. So let me count squares here. 1, I'm going to go forward 1, 2, 3, forward. I'm going to go down then 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks pretty good. All right, press C to code. And my markdown comes up, my make code blocks. I have to navigate the agent using the rover block to the green X and take a picture. All right, so I'm going to move Ingenuity. I'm going to pull that block over. I'm going to move it to the right, moving forward like that. And I think I counted 4. And then I need to move it down. So let me change that to fuchsia button down and by 4. And then, of course, do not forget to take your picture so that you can send the data back to Capcom and they can analyze the data. So here we go. Did Jenny make it? Oh, incomplete. And I can't do it again. I counted too many, so incomplete. Now I've got to redo the whole thing. All right, that's okay. We'll try again. All about coding is you make mistakes, you try forward. So let's do another one. I'm going to try this one. Let's flip my switch. So I'm going to be asteroid mining. I have to collect a mineral sample from an asteroid. All right, they found some asteroid flying near the Earth that may contain some rare metals. Let's navigate the probe to the marked site. All right, so I'm going to press C to code. This time I'm going to count better. I'm going to go forward 1 and down 1, 2, 3, and then forward 1. All right, I can always go back and look. I probably should have done that last time. All right, let's go do it. So I'm going to move the rover forward by 1. And then I'm going to move it down, I think, by 3. And then I'm going to move it over by 1 to the right. And then I'm going to mine an asteroid. And I'm going so slow. I'm not going to make any points. Oh, I got it. Yes. All right. At least I got 1 point. The pro sensors got a large amount of gold and trace nickel and iron. 2, 1, and we are back. As you see here, we're shaking up and we are going into landing and we're about to splash down. That was fun. Coding is super important in space exploration. Learning just the basics of problem solving and critical thinking really do matter. And Artemis space, a return to the moon, is really, really a fun way not only to see what life is like on NASA, but look at the types of experiments that our NASA astronauts do. And it's all about exploring space, colonizing the moon, colonizing Mars, and learning how to work together in a team. Team collaboration and communication, being a leader, are all the different types of skills that you need to be a part of space exploration, not just coding, which basically means anybody can be someone who tries to work in space exploration. Hopefully you want to be part of the Artemis generation too, because you are part of a new generation of explorers, astronauts, and visionaries. We call that the Artemis generation. So keep your eyes toward the stars and keep dreaming big. You and your team have reached the rank of astronaut. Thank you, everyone. Okay, and now it's Q&A time, and Kamak will be joining to respond to some of your video questions submitted via Flip. I'm going to leave you with a trailer, and Kamak will meet us on the other side.
We are going back to the moon, breaking barriers in who and how we get there, and launching a new era of space exploration. We will need engineers and designers to build rockets. We will need scientists and artists to imagine new ways to live in space. We need you, the Artemis generation. Get ready for liftoff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
What advice do you have for students who are interested to pursue a career in robotics or space science?
Well, that's a fantastic question. I would recommend mastering your basics first. So mathematics, physics, and computer science. And my second advice to you is to engage in practical and hands-on activities like internships, research opportunities, or building robots and trying to program them and make them do different things. And if your robot is not behaving as you expect it to, spend hours just trying to debug your code and understand what is wrong and why the robot is not behaving the way that it should, because throughout this process, you're going to learn a lot. So these are all the greatest skills that you're going to need to be successful in the field of robotics. And I also recommend honing your problem-solving skills, because the field of space robotics often involves complex problems that require innovative solutions. So by working on your problem-solving skills and trying to think out of the box, you're going to be more prepared for careers in the space robotics field.
Hi NASA, my name is Prince, and I have a very important question to ask you. What are some difficulties that you face while you're coding for missions to other planets?
Oh, that's a great question. So when we are writing flight software for planetary missions, there are many challenges. Here I mentioned maybe just a few of them. One of the challenges is that we are dealing with limited memory and computational resources on board our spacecraft. Consider that our spacecraft is equipped with many sensors and scientific instruments that are constantly taking measurements and generating data. And when we are writing software, we need to make sure that our software is running as efficiently as possible so that it meets the memory and computational constraints on board our spacecraft. So optimizing our code to run efficiently is one of our biggest challenges. Another challenge that we face when writing flight software is that we need to test our flight software, and we need to make sure that it's free of errors and is robust. So we run hundreds or thousands of tests on every component and module of the flight software code to make sure that it's robust. However, simulating the harsh extraterrestrial environments accurately here on Earth is a challenging but crucial step that we need to take to make sure that our code is robust and perform nominally when deployed on other planets.
Hi, my name's Emily May. I'm from Galway in the Republic of Ireland. My question is, do astronauts need to know how to code for their missions?
Oh, that's an interesting question. And I'm not a NASA astronaut, at least not yet. But as I mentioned, I was recently selected as an analog astronaut. So based on what I know is that you don't need to pass a very difficult coding question or coding interview in order to get a job as an astronaut. However, astronauts might need to pick up specific coding languages or coding skills when they're preparing for their spaceflight missions, because they might need to run experiments or do data analysis, and coding can help them with running those experiments and data analysis. So even though coding might not be on the job description for astronauts, but however, coding is more than just knowing how to write lines of code. Coding is a way of thinking, is a way of tackling problems and finding creative solutions to tricky problems. And guess what? All of these are must-have skills for astronauts. Lila, are you still there?
I sure am. Fantastic questions from our students. And you can keep asking your questions in our Flip group. Go to flip.com/Minecraft event. We would love to hear from you. Now it's a special day with a very special guest, and we want to invite all of you to gather in front of your screens because it's selfie time. Teachers, guardians, and caregivers and parents, grab your cameras and get ready. Take some pictures with us to celebrate and remember all the learnings and the inspiration. We'll give you a few seconds to get set up.
All right, 3, 2, 1, Artemis.
All right, I got my pick, and I can't wait to see everyone else's. So please share them with us at Microsoft Flip, at Playcraft Learn, at NASA STEM, and at Kamak.e. Thank you so much. Now, Kamak, before we say goodbye, is there anything special you'd like to tell everyone out there watching today?
Thank you, Lila. Yes, actually, here at JPL, we proudly embrace the slogan, Dare Mighty Things. So I would like to encourage all of you out there to dare mighty things, to dare let your imaginations fly. And remember, sky is not the limit. It is only the beginning. So dare to envision a better world, and let coding be your tool to shape that vision into reality. Back to you, Lila.
A big cosmic thank you to you, Kamak and NASA. Thank you for joining us today, for inspiring us all, and for sharing your insight with everyone watching. That was amazing. Now, future programmers and space explorers out there, as Kamak shared, coding is the future. And a great way to start learning more about coding is the Hour of Code, lessons in Minecraft education. They are free and fun. Hour of Code lessons help everyone understand some of the fundamental basics of programming, such as sequences and loops. And this year's lesson is all about artificial intelligence, AI. Let's get a sneak peek and learn how you can start coding. Go to aka.ms/Hour of Code, and let's watch a quick video. And now the learning and inspiration is not over. Head to flip.com/Minecraft event so your students can reflect on all they learned during today's live event. And although this was our last event for 2023, all our events are available to watch on demand. Bookmark aka.ms/Flip events and enjoy some of our best shows anytime. We'll be back next year in 2024 with more adventures, so stay tuned. Now, on behalf of Flip, the Minecraft education team, and NASA STEM team, and our very special guest, Dr. Kamak Ebadi, thank you for watching.